Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Thing where I talk about things, a rather special episode of Thing Talking today. You see, I thought that I was going to be out of town for a while. I got invited on a vacation with my family, but it was canceled on account of weather. But in any case, though, I put together something because I thought I was going to be gone. And a while ago, somebody asked me how it is that I make music for Monday Music, and I will now tell you how it is done. So, what I use is a program called Sony Acid, and this is a song that I was commissioned to do called Earth is Dirty. It is a theme for an angel. And first looking at this, it looks like a whole bunch of crap. We've got just a ton of stuff all laid out around here. And then down here in our section below, we've also got a ton of crap. There's a bunch of stuff just that makes no sense until it is explained to you. So anyway though, the way that this works is every single one of these things is just a note that'll play, or it's maybe not necessarily a note, but it could be a thing. Like for example, you take this hi-hat thing, you play it, you get a hi-hat. And so all of this, these are beats and musical stuff that I've laid down, that I've planned out, that I've composed myself. Very proud of that composition. But we'll go to the more simple things starting off. Is actually down here you can see that there's a bunch of different things that I could click on, and they play different things. This is my drum folder. This is my drum folder, in case you can hear me over there. My drum folder, it contains a bunch of drums, but actually what we used most recently for this section I'm going to show you, is guitar. And what I've got here is a bunch of samples played by a guy named Ray, and I like Ray very much. This song is in the key of D, just D natural, although we use a lot of D sharp. I kind of just fudge on that, in 4/4 time and at 130 beats per minute. That's pretty much all there is to that. You can adjust that at your leisure if you like. Almost nobody plays in any other time signature though, so you will be out of luck unless you want to compose your own stuff when you switch to that. Everybody always uses 4/4 time. But anyway though, so Ray actually prepared a whole bunch of stuff, and I really like this guy because he's a very good guitar player, and when I need something that's catchy, but maybe not too over the top, he's great. And so you can hear what I've done here. Is I've got something that he played. Where's that actually? Here we go. Funky D100. And Ray's really nice. He's a really good guy because what he does when he makes his samples is he labels what key they're in and the tempo, and then that way I know how to change the key if I need to, or what tempo it's supposed to be played in. And normally it's pretty comfortable to move them around. But sometimes, it screws everything up. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. So, anyway though, he's got... It's hard to say. I know that I did use this one and that. But anyway, though, this is the simplest way to put together songs, is you find something that's catchy, and you just lay it down, and then you put together the beats behind it, you find some bass, and I actually use this bass pretty consistently through, this trap-it bass put together by some George Daniel Ramirez, I don't know for sure. I just download them from a website. There's a bunch of different places you can go for loops like this if you want to look for samples that people have already prepared. And this is like I say, the simplest section of the song. This is the guitar break, where I found a sample that fit, and it sounded very good. It was in the key of D, which I've been using, and that was great. But before that, though, we had a trumpet section, and this was very specifically requested. We wanted to have the trumpet section. What we can do here is I can isolate a sound to hear how it sounds all by itself. And here's the trumpet melody. And that's something that I put together myself using samples from my Philharmonica folder, which a huge thanks to whoever. I got a letter from a fan who directed me to this stuff, and previously I'd been using a lot more bells and other things like that. I didn't really have a lot of options. The bassoon especially is great. But anyway, you can see that the Philharmonica, they have composed a ridiculous number of samples that I can use to kind of create my own music. And that way I have to rely a lot less on pre-prepared samples, which is great, because the pre-prepared samples simplify things, but they're very much restrictive. Like, if the sample doesn't fit with what you're trying to do, then the song won't work very well, and you've got to scrap your idea and try again. With a sample like this, where just one note, and you make your own melody, it's very pretty. Then you get to do whatever you want, and everything is very, very lovely. With the only drawback being that it sounds a bit synthetic. As this does, although it's an actual recording of a real guy playing trumpet, but because he only played one note, it sounds synthetic, because that's what it is. It's produced by a computer. So anyway, though, to help with that, I usually put it on a guitar chorus, and what that does is it makes it sound like there's more parts playing at a time. If I get rid of that, see, just go into Untitled, there's nothing now playing. You see, now it really sounds like a MIDI file. So the guitar chorus thing kind of helps it sound a little bit better. And you can see there's a whole bunch of other stuff. A lot of this is really fundamentally useless. Like the thumb thing only works on like a single bass drum hit. The delay, where is it? Distant echoes I use quite a lot, but you have to be careful when you use these functions, because some of them will totally throw off your deal. The computer gets confused. Like for example, I've got a distant echoes on these hi-hats up here, which you can see when I isolate. Also, too, one thing you can do that's neat is if you don't want to hear the hi-hat, you can just turn it off. So you can go through, and if you feel like something sounds like crap, then you can then turn off that line and try and figure out, why does it sound like crap? Maybe it's something you did, which happens sometimes. But anyway, yeah, though, one thing that happens with the distant echoes is we'll do, like, nothing. There's nothing along this line for so long. Then we get to the end and we play. And what we'll find is that the computer somehow forgot the tempo for this line because of the distant echoes plugin. And then when you play it, it's not lined up with everything. For this song, we turned out okay. So everything's cool, very happy, we're all very good. But sometimes it screws up. And anyway, how we actually produce music using these things is unfortunately because the program really has no way of knowing for sure what the key is supposed to be, and sometimes people don't label. Like this one is labeled very conveniently. It says it starts in C major, then it goes to, F major, then, or excuse me, it starts in C minor, then goes to F minor, then to G minor. And so what you do is you can actually just go up and down scales. And if you're ever confused about this, if you don't know how to read music, which I've forgotten, I used to play drums. So I learned how to play xylophone, I learned how to read music, and then forgot over the years when I quit playing any kind of xylophone. And so anymore now, I just go, whenever I need to figure out, like, what note am I actually putting this on, then I can go into this thing and I just look, and you can see how many steps you're going up. A half step will usually send you over to a sharp. And so we see this started at C minor, which is here, and then goes up to, and goes to D minor, which is good because we've got a lot of this in either D or D minor is our key. So that's very good. Yeah, but anyway though, so that's how everything works, as you can get that with, where is something custom? Let's go back to our trumpets. Trumpet custom trumpets. What is this? What are you? Oh yeah, that's the French horn. So anyway, though, the way that I've done this is the French horn parts, you can actually go through and you can find each individual note if you want. But there are different ways of playing it. So you see, this G note doesn't sound the same as this F note. It's played differently. One will be shorter, one will be longer. And so that's really inconvenient. What's actually better to do is just to take a single note that sounds good for what you want, and then to adjust it up like a couple pitches, a couple steps, until you get the next note that you want. So that way you're not, wasting a whole ton of time scrolling back and forth between all this crap. You just have this and you adjust it. So that is how I do custom stuff with that, and how I also use non-custom stuff to streamline the process. And that's how I get something up every single Monday, is that being that it's all computerized, it's all a big program, it's not too hard to use. It's very user-friendly. It's easy to pick up. The main thing is just that you need a good ear. You don't even need to understand how to read or tell the difference between notes. You just need to be able to hear how it sounds, and you need to kind of understand what you want out of it. If you can think of a melody in your head, you can put it down on Acid. It's a little bit tough at first, but with some practice, you'll learn how to do it. Before we go, I'll go ahead and I don't want to change anything. I will start something new, and I'll just kind of lay it down. And so let's go into something or other here. What's a good example? There's a guitar. We've got our Essential Flamenco guitar. This one is professionally prepared. It's actually really good. Yeah, let's go with this. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I know that one. And we'll grab some drums. We'll just pick out some random drums. Okay, sure. So this, you put together a very simple song. And that sounds pretty good, but this actually won't line up. I know that this one doesn't line up with everything, because you can see that it actually has a downbeat that's just a little bit too far forward. So what you can do then is you can just grab this and drag it over so it's better in line. And then it sounds just a little bit better. It lines up a little bit more, and you do a little bit of adjusting, and then everything is very pretty, and it all sounds exactly how you like it to sound. So yeah, it's about as simple as that. With just the main thing being that you have to know what it is that you're looking for and what sounds you want to make. Sometimes it's harder than others. A lot of people don't record anything with trumpet because trumpets are very hard to record. They're very loud a lot of times when you record your peak. But if you know how to record stuff, Sony Acid also has the option to do that. You can arm this for recording. And we're actually set down very low in Audacity, so that way if I shout into the mic, it doesn't pop all the way up and screw up the recording. But we can arm this to record, play it for a little while, and then what we'll see here, we'll go ahead and turn this up because we're going to have to, and then we've got our own voice, so you can play snaps, taps, whatever it is that you want to do, and you can also record yourself playing an instrument if you have one. I don't have any present anymore. I used to have some stuff, like I said, some old percussion stuff. I don't know whatever became of it. It's probably all in my parents' attic from after I moved out, after I quit going to high school, is when I was in band. They could still have it, but it's okay. Really, I'm not in short supply on snare drum parts. I've got like a billion drum parts and things that I can produce myself. And anyway, though, so that is how I use Sony Acid to produce music. It's not too complicated. It's actually rather fun. It does take a good several hours to put stuff together. It's not something that you just you can sort of hash things out, but then your song will sound very samey. I mean, like, you notice that this is really catchy, but imagine playing this over and over and over again for about 3 minutes. It would get tired very quick. So what you have to do is you have to pick out other things and make everything match up, and that's if you don't want to make your own custom songs. Of course, you want to make your own custom songs. It's a lot more fun when it turns out well, but also much more prone to screwing up. So, yes. Anyway, that's Sony Acid. That's how I do it, and I suppose I will catch you guys next time.